B'shut Kal HaKadosh, everybody welcome. Be'ezrat Hashem Baracha Hatzlacha leYaakov ben Asher, she'leilu nishmat his father, Asher ben Ima Shalom, Ruach Hashem tenachenu b'Gan Eden b'zchut halimud hazeh, whatever the Pirkie Avot that we're learning, she'HaKadosh Baruch Hu uplift his soul to Gan Eden Elyon with our forefathers. וגם תברך את קירור דניאל בן מיכאל, ניסים שלום, בן בכור בריס, שהקדוש ברוך הוא תשפיע עליהם חוט של חסד, ברכה, הצלחה, בריאות וכן יהי רצון, ונאמר אמן. 1000 הבדלות בין המתים לחיים, לעילוי נשמת רום הרחמים בן מזל, רוח השם תנחנו בגן עדן הוא וכל השוכבים עמו בכלל רחמים והסליחות, וכן יהי רצון, ונאמר אמן. Please subscribe. Please sponsor the shiurim. Baruch Hashem, we have every Tuesday and Thursday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. in a Paras Beta Knesset. Whoever needs Rufuah Shlema, Parnasat Tova, Briyut, Siyat Dishmaya, so able to get the shiurim and able to listen and transform to others. So we talked about in Mishnah, Pirkie Avot, Mishnah Dalit, which is chapter 4, Mishnah Chaf Aleph, Mishnah 21. So we talked about the jealousy. The jealousy, what's the considered is the jealousy, and we continue with the jealousy. Yiftach nadar shelo kehogen. Yiftach hagiladi. So he says this also was not the neder, which means like a promise. It was not proper. What it means, Shoftim in 11:31 says following. Vayayotzi asher yatsa midalti beti lekrat b'shalom. So Yiftach hagiladi, I'm just going to give a little bit of insight. What he did, the Chachamim told him, we need a warrior. He was one of the warriors, and he said, if I'm going to go to war, I'm going to, whatever comes out from my door, I'm going to bring a korban to Hashem. And that's what he said. The Chazal says, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu first say, what if from the Yiftach HaGiladi, from his door, will come out gamal, which just means a camel or donkey or anything that is not kosher, to bring it to the mizbeach. Hashiv shelo kehogen, and he asked not properly. Nizdamen lo beto. So his daughter came out from the door of the Gilad, of the Yiftach. Haya lo lalechet lePinchas shehaya gadol hador. In that moment, Yiftach HaGiladi was the warrior. Pinchas was the Kohen Gadol. Okay? And he was a Gadol Hador. He was a rabbi. Not only rabbi, he was the leader of the Jewish nation. V'shalal nedro, he should nullify his neder of the Yiftach. Mipnei gasor ruach lo ratza lelechet elav. Pinchas does not want to go to who? To Yiftach. V'amar ani melech. Yiftach says, I'm a king. I'm not going to go to the Gadol Hador, to the rabbi of the generation, or the chief rabbi. Ve'elech ela Pinchas. Amar Pinchas, and b'chol zeh, לא רוצה לתת יפתח, אמר אני כהן גדול, שבנו של כהן גדול. Pinchas says, I'm a כהן גדול, and my father is a כהן גדול. So what, I'm going to go to the Yiftach, he's a king? ואלך אל עם הארץ הזה, I'm going to go to the non-learner, he's a Yiftach. בין לדין לדין, הלכה לאותו עלובה, ושניים נענשו. Yiftach and Pinchas, both of them got punished. What is the punishment? Yiftach נשאל עבר ממנו, והיה נקבר. Yiftach, which just means he was buried all over Eretz Israel. What does it mean? His ever, which is his limbs, was falling off, and by his limbs falling off, he was buried all over. Shenemar, Vayigor ba'arei Gilad lo neemar, ela ba'arei Gilad. It says not in a singular language, it says in a plural language. What's the plural language? That Gilad was buried many. למד שהיה נשאל ממנו עבר ונעבר, נקבר במקומות הרבה. Yiftach was buried in many places, and that's why, what's the punishment? Because he didn't go to the Pinchas to ask for his neder. Pinchas נסתלקה ממנו רוח הקודש. What happened with Pinchas? His divine presence departed from him. והגסות רוח של יפתח גרמה ל42,000 שנהרגו בימיו. Because Yiftach has such a gaiva, he says 42,000 people died during his time. ורשב"ץ מגן אבות בשם רבי אלעזר כתוב, 3 אלו קנאה ותאווה כבוד. Chazal says 3 things are these. the jealousy, the desire, the pride, kavod, respect. Motzim etzel Adam harishon. He says that's what happened with Adam harishon. Three things. She'ara malachim v'Satan, kavod na'asa malachi asher le'Adam harishon. So Satan saw how much the angels, the ministering angels, was giving the kavod, the respect to Adam harishon, the first man. She'ad sulim lo basar misunanim lo yain. They used to, so-called for Adam harishon, they used to barbecue for him meat, Rav Moshe, and they used to give him a wine. To who? To Adam harishon. Sanhedrin, like it says Masech Sanhedrin in page 59. Gemara sham afal pi shelo utar le'Adam harishon shchot behema le'echol basara. But we know from the Noah time, HaKadosh Baruch Hu allowed to eat the meat for the further generation, but not for Adam harishon. Ki yerek esef. For Adam harishon, he's able only eat the vegetables. Mikol makom notlino basar yored min hashamayim. Anyways, they were giving him basar, the meat to Adam harishon from the heavens. V'itkanu bo v'yu le'edeh ta'ava le'echol mipri etz hadad. Second thing, jealousy. What a jealousy brings? He says, desires. What is the desires? Desire for the tree, the wisdom, the good and bad. He says the tree, the wisdom, the good and bad, was the desire for the eye. The eye. The first thing we see is the eye. Because Adam harishon was so, the Malachei Asharet, the ministering angels, used to give him the respect. Because of this respect, he became through the sinner, and we're going to talk about a person runs after the publicity. He runs after to be in the top. If a person runs after the publicity and want to be in the front, he says that publicity runs away from him. Avimelech ben Yirbaal, he says he was running after the publicity. He says because he was looking for so much respect, he got destroyed from the world. What does it mean? Shenemar shoftim tet nun bet, vayavo Avimelech ad migdal veilcham bo. Avimelech came to the migdal and he was fighting. Veigash risarfo be'esh, and he got burned in a fire. V'tishlach ha'isha echad palach rekev al rosho v'taratz et gulgato v'yidarku na'arav v'yamod. So it says, Avimelech died through the lady, she killed him. Shaul barach min asrara. Shaul HaMelech was running away from to be a king, be on top. Bashar shemashcho Shmuel HaMelech, amar ani eno raui lemalchut. When the Shmuel HaNavi, he says, you're going to be a king? He says, I'm not worthy to be a king. Shaul HaMelech says. How much anava had Shaul HaMelech? Ela lechu v'shalu ba'urim v'tumim. Shaul HaMelech says, go to Urim v'tumim and ask them, what's happening with my kingship? V'alav v'yet atzmo, at shalu ba'urim v'tumim. Shaul HaMelech, until the Shmuel HaNavi did not say Urim v'tumim, nothing happened. He did not want to become a king. Shenemar vayomer Hashem hinehu nichba el hakelim elu Urim v'tumim hu barach min asrara. He says through Urim v'tumim, through the Shmuel HaNavi, Shaul HaMelech became king. V'asrara radov acharav. But the kingship was running after the Shaul HaMelech. Maseh b'shnei ba'adam shidaru b'shchunot. He says we're going to give you a story that is two people was living in the same neighborhood. Echad ashir muflag bal tzonu bakar. One rich person had all the crops, poultries, sadot v'kramim. He had a fields. Shulchan shel malachim. This rich guy had a king's table, which means everything. V'dirato na'a mirvechet. He says he lived in a beautiful house. Achaya basaro raza me'od. But he says he was very thin. What does it mean? V'tash kocho, very weak. Ushchono bala malachat tzorev kesef. But his neighbor was making the silver become whiter. ואין לו יכול לקנות בשר בכל לילה. His neighbor not able to buy a meat every night. אלא משבת לשבת. Only from Shabbat to Shabbat is able to buy a meat. בעת ירקם מטלטלים וכלים, במצאות נאות אין לו. He says he don't have a beautiful bed, he don't have a beautiful meal, he doesn't have a beautiful house. This guy that works with the silver. מקום מקום דירתו בדוחק. בעת צר וקטן. He says his house was very small and very not comfortable. אבל היה בריא אולם. But he was very, very בריא. He was very, very healthy. The rich guy wasn't healthy. The poor guy was healthy. גיבור כוח ושמן בשר. Not only he was healthy, he was also chubby. פניו צהבות תמיד. He was always, his face was shining. ושאלו שכנו העשיר, מדוע אני כך אתה כך? So basically they're asking, how come you rich, you have everything, you skinny, you all the time have sicknesses, you have a beautiful house. The other guy, he's poor, he does not have what the other guy. He says, how come you look better than me? יען ואמר לו מפני שעבדה מטבע כעסה ורגזן הרבה. He says, the reason I'm, the poor guy says, the way I am, because you are all the time getting mad and upset. Anything happens to you like a fire. לפחות 10 פעמים ביום יזדמן לו כעס ורוגז משעתך בני ביתך. He says, at least 10 times you're getting upset and mad every day at your workers and surround your people. וכעס מאחיש בשר אדם מחליש כוחו. He says the anger, if a person is angry, he becomes weaker and all the sicknesses will come to him. והגוף מזיק הרבה. If he's angry, it becomes problem with his health and to his body. ועוד זאת, הנה בעל התאווה חמדה כנער הרבה. He says, especially a person is desired for more and more. ועל כך ימיך מכואבים. He says the later times in his life will going to be not pleasant. He's going to be in pain and suffering. מבולבל וטרוד. He's all the time is going to be confused, and he's all the time is going to be not have a proper state of mind. רודף אחריו ממון. He runs all the time after the money. Nobody telling over here, don't run after the money. But what is the limit? He desires and he wants to desire the whole world. אבל אני מצד טבעי מסגר רוח הרבה. But the poor guy says, I'm very calm. Many things does not bother me. ואין לי כעס ורוגז אפילו ודרו אלוהי לכעוס עליו. He says, even the things I'm supposed to be get upset and mad, I don't even get upset and mad. I really don't care. מסתפק במועט, whatever I have, I'm happy, ושמח בחלקי, במעט אשר לפני אני רואה את הרבה מאוד. He says, whatever I have a lot. Even it's little, but I have a lot. ואינו מתקנאים באחרים לכל דבר. Anything that people have, I'm not becoming jealous. Jealousy, oh. לכן איננו בריא עולם תמיד. He says, that's why this poor guy, he's always what? He's always healthy. And why he's healthy? He doesn't get upset. He doesn't get mad. Even the things needs to be get mad, he does not mad. Even whatever he has little, he thinking he has a lot. הדבר מלמד מעניינו. Let's learn from this. כי הקנאה, a jealousy, ותאווה, desire, והכבוד, respect, הן בני ישראל מכשילים באבני גוף של כל הדרכים הטובים. He says many Jewish people, unfortunately, he says they will become stumbling blocks whatever we do, and the three things, kinah v'ta'ava v'kavod, respect, honor, and a jealousy. That good things that we have, good characters and traits, those good characters and traits would cover those bad traits. Those bad traits would cover those good traits. A person has to be careful. A person is careful to all three things we just said. People would be healthy if they're going to take our advice, it says. They will be happy in this world and share in the world to come. Hashem is Zakenu. So Hashem would grant us with the kinah, with tava, with kavod, so Hashem would grant us we should have towards the Torah, mitzvot, and maasim tovim. So, we continue with Pirkei Avot in Mishnah 22. Hu haya omer, hayulodim lamut. He says, person already born is already destined to die. Va'amid le'achayot. A person already died is destined to be alive. We're going to talk about. V'achayim lidun. His life is going to be going through the judgment. Le'adeu li'idiyah li'ivada. He would know, they would let him know. Shu el, hu yotze v'hu boreh, hu mivin. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is our Hashem. He understands. Hu dayan, he's a judge. Hu ayed, he's a witness. Hu baladin, he's the one who's going to make us become as a judge. He's going to be the judge. Hu atid ledun, he's in the future going to judge us. Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. She'en lafanav lo avla, in front of Hashem, there's no shochad, there's no bribery. Lo is not forgetting. V'lo masim panim, he doesn't favor anybody. V'lo yikach shochad, he does not take bribe. She'akol shelo, everything is Hashem's. V'da she'akol lefi hacheshbon, everything goes according to the accounting. How much we do in this world. V'al yavtiach yitzerecha, she'ashoel ben manos lecha, she'al korcha ata notzar, says with a forcefully we were born in this world. V'al korcha ata nolad, we are forcefully was created and born in this world. V'al korcha ata chai, you're going to be forcefully to live in this world. V'al korchacha ata med, and you're going to forcefully die, nobody going to ask. V'al korchacha atid liten din v'cheshbon lifnei melech malchei malachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In the future, we're going to give to HaKadosh Baruch Hu everything that we did. There is no forgetfulness. He does not forget. He does not favor. Okay? A lot of people say, Hashem forgive, forget, forgive. Like they know Hashem accounting. Yes, He forgive only if we do tshuva. Shochad, He would take a bribery only in one condition. When we do tshuva. That's the bribery. So, hamitim le'achayot, the Mishnah continues, we elaborate. Person, he died, is going to live. Kamo she'namar Isaiah 26:19. Hakitzur anenu shochnei afar, ki tal orot talecha, ve'eretz rafaim tapil. We say this, Hakitzur, that in the future, we're going to get up in Tchiyat HaMetim. She'namar Ateilim, in 72:16. Ve'atzitzu me'ir ke'esev ha'aretz. He says we're going to come out from the ground like a grass. Like a grass. וכן אמר בדניאל, ברבים משני אף הארץ יקיצו, אלו חיי עולם, ואלו לרפות לדלון עולם. And also says in Daniel that in the future we're going to be coming out for the Tchiyat HaMetim. אמרו בסנהדרין, it says in Masechet Sanhedrin in page 90. שאל קליאפטריה מלכה את רבי מאיר. Cleopatra, she was a queen. She asked Rabbi Meir following. ואמרו לו, ידעת אני מאמינה שהמתים מתים לחיות. She says, I know. She's a goya. She says to Rabbi Meir, I know in the future people will resurrect and become from the dead to the life. שכך נאמר, והציצו מאיר כעשב הארץ. She quotes a pasuk. והציצו, he says that the Yidden, the Jewish people, is going to be like a esev, like a grass that is going to grow. אלא אני שואלת, האם יעמדו מתים מקבוריהם ויעמדו שהם ערומים? He says, are they going to get up, these people that died? Are they going to be with the clothes or without the clothes? She's asking Rabbi Meir. או בלבושים יעמדו, or they're going to stand with the clothes, because they're buried without the clothes. אמרה לה, צא מלמד קל וחומר מחיטה. Rabbi Meir says, go look at it, kal vachomer, from the wheat that we eat, the grain. Says, machita nizred nikveret, nizrat v'nikveret sheh aroma. He says, the wheat, the seeds, what we planted, we plant it without anything. Vayatza kama livushim. The grain comes out with many clothing on it. Tzadikim nikvarim belivushehem al echad v'kama kama. Is that tzadikim is going to be in clothes, and how much they're going to come out with the clothes. Katuv Tosafot Masechet Ktuvot in page 111. Mashma de Gemara she'amdu belivushehem shenigvaru behem. The Gemara says it sounds like they're going to get buried. The clothes that they got buried, that's the clothes that they're going to get up. Ela b'Yerushalmi mashma yamdu b'levushim she'u levushim otam b'chayechem. Yerushalmi says they're going to wake up in the clothes that they were buried. Al kol panim nireh din hu lekol mi shezakeh lakum b'tchiyat hametim. Anyways, a person needs to have a merit to get up in a tchiyat hametim, in the resurrecting of dead. V'lav davka letzadikim bilvad. It's not only for the righteous people only. Ela la'achar shenizdachu achar pitirato. Says after the person becomes more pure and pure, kulam nikraim tzadikim. Everybody consider and everybody called tzadikim. Yamdu b'levushehem, and they would stand with their clothes. Ketnan kol Yisrael yesh lachem chelek le'olam haba. Like the pasuk says, every Yidden have the share in the world to come. Shenemar v'ameh kulam tzadikim. Says the Jewish nation, everybody is tzadikim. Le'olam irshu aretz le'olam haba zeh tchiyat hametim. Says share in the world to come, this is the tchiyat hametim. Knada basifa velu she'en lachem chelek le'olam haba. The Gemara says in Masechet Sanhedrin, in the beginning, everybody have the olam haba. But at the end of the pasuk says, not everybody have a olam haba. V'amar en tchiyat hametim min haTorah. Who does not have a share in the world to come, does not believe that he does not going to wake up in tchiyat hametim. Lefchach en lo betchiyat hametim. En lo chelek betchiyat hametim. If a person does not believe in tchiyat hametim, that means he does not get up in tchiyat hametim. That's a clear. A person could go to shul, Bet HaKnesset, 30, 40 years. He does not believe that the tchiyat hametim is not going to get up. He's not going to get up. That he has a share in the world, not to share in the world come. But why the pasuk says every Yidden is a tzaddik? Tzaddik, every Yidden. Says who is going to be in tchiyat hametim? This is the people that are going to do the will of Hashem. Ulam ra'iti b'sefer Rav Chaim, Rav Yosef Chaim, Ben Ish Chai. כתב יש לדקדק, מה נאה יש לצדיקים לעמוד בלבושיהם. Ben Ish Chai says, what is so beautiful that they're going to get up with their clothes in tchiyat hametim? What is so beautiful? מאחר שאותה לבושים נעשו עפר. Ben Ish Chai says, the clothes that the person is buried, it becomes everything dust. מה ערכם של לבושים אלה? He says, what is the big deal about this clothing that we talk about? שיעשה בהם הקדוש ברוך הוא נס גדול כזה. That the Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to make a big miracle. The clothes that the person is buried, it becomes already afar. It becomes dust. So what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to make a miracle that's going to, whatever the clothes that we bury on, that's the clothes that we're going to get up in tchiyat hametim. שהליבוש יתחדש לצורך זה, he says HaKadosh Baruch Hu needs to make a special miracle for the clothes to be brand new. Before we were buried, it was new, but everything became dust. What יש לדקדק? למה תפס עתידים לצדיקים? Why the Gemara says in the future the tzadikim? הלא דבר לכאורה שייך לכל המתים שיחיו בתחיית המתים. He says, from here we learn, and from here we see, לכאורה, he says, not only tzadikim supposed to get up in תחיית המתים, other people that did mitzvot also should get up in תחיית המתים. נראה הנה יודע שדווקא תשמיש קדושה אסור לתשמיש בו תשמישי חול. We have two concepts. We have תשמישי חול, תשמישי קדושה. For example, ציצית, טלית קטן, טלית גדול. It's considered תשמישי שלא קדושה, which just means you could allow to afterwards throw it out or put it in a bag. The better is to put it in a גניזה. But the תפילין, מזוזה וספר תורה, you could not throw it out. אם לא צריך גניזה, like it says in Masechet Megillah, in page 26. אבל תשמיש אין בו קדושה, אין צורך גניזה. But something is not used for the kedusha, you don't need to put it in a gniza. Gniza, which just means to bury it. אפילו בהדר ושתיים בהם, אין בהם קדושה. It says clothing, they have no kedusha on it. מותר להשתמש ידיעות. הרב פרימי גדם כתב אור החיים, הנה ידוע גם צדיקים על ידי תורה מצוות מזכים את החומר שלהם. פרימי גדם says in אור החיים in Siman 153, the tzaddikim says, whatever the physical that they have, the physical, they're able to purify it and make it more fine. וזוכים גם גופם נעשים קדוש. The tzaddikim, the body also becomes spiritually holy. כמו שכתוב, קדושים תהיו. Like the pasuk says, you should be holy. והיינו לקדש הגופות. To purify our body. כי הנפש רוחנית בלא הכי היא קדושה. He says the nefesh, which is the soul, it's already holy. כמו שכתוב על שייך, מאחר שהגוף צדיק אשר הוא זוכה לקדש גופו. על שייך הקדוש says, Moshe al Sheikh, he says the body needs to be so purified through our mitzvot ומעשים. יש גוף שאין הדין קדושה. He says, the body becomes purified. Not only purify, holy. גם לבוש דין להשמיש קדושה. It says, if the body becomes holy, the clothing also becomes holy. אך זה דווקא לצדיקים שנקיים מן החטא. It says, only to tzaddikim, they are clean from the sin. מקדשים גופם על ידי תורה ומצוות. It says, they will purify and to make the body holy through the Torah ומצוות עוסקים בהם. When they do mitzvah, בעל כוחם, with the strength and the power. נמשלה קדושה החומר שלהם. The kedusha, the holiness, is to this physicality. עד שעת מותם, until they passed away. אבל שאר בני אדם לא זכו להיות צדיקים. What about other people? They're not able to marry to have a tzaddikim. גמורים, לקדש חומר. They're not complete tzaddikim. What's considered complete, not complete? The Ben Ish Chai uses over here, complete and not complete. כדי שהוא לגופם דין קדושה, אף על פי קיום תחיית המתים. He says, anyways, these people, not complete tzaddikim, they would do come out, they would resurrect from תחיית המתים. מכל מקום כיוון אין גופן דין קדושה. Because it says the body is not holy. כי הנפש הנשמה שלהם בוודאי יש להם דין קדושה. It says, of course, the nefesh, ruach, neshama, he has the din kedusha. Yes, the soul is holy. כי הנשמה חלק אלוקא ממעל. The neshama is the part of הקדוש ברוך הוא. והגוף שעליה תשמיש קדושה. The body is the tashmish kedusha, which just means we use the body as a vessel for the soul. ממילא הלבושים של הגוף, he says, anyways, the clothing for the body. התשמישי תשמיש, דהיינו תכריכים של הגוף. תכריכים, which just means, what do you wrap the dead person with? תכריכים. How you say this in English? Rav Shalom?
Gauze.
Huh?
Gauze.
Gauze that you use for the little gauze, right? So use that. שאין צריכים גניזה. He says, תכריכים, those gauze does not need גניזה. כי אין בהם חשיבות לקדושה כלל. They're not important to have a kedusha on it. רק גוף שתשתמש קדושה טעון גניזה בקבר. It says, because the body, why we need to bury the body? Another reasoning. Because we used it as a proper to purify it and to become kadosh. Kadosh, which just means holy. That's why the holy thing, what needs to be done? To be buried. בתחיית המתים יהיה גוף, אבל לא בלבושים שעליו. He says, in תחיית המתים he's going to get up, but not the clothing that he's buried. זה שנאמר עתידים צדיקים, היינו שבחייכם צדיקים גמורים. This is what means in a lifespan, there were complete tzaddikim. שאז גופם יש דין קדושה. The body becomes kadosh, holy. ואם כן לבושים גופם, תשמיש קדושה, טעון גניזה. So the same thing is the clothing needs to be buried with them. Why? Because the clothing became holy like the body, which is the vessel. לכן יש חשיבות שגם יחיה בתחיית המתים. That's why it's important for the clothing of the person that he get buried with that clothing he needs to get up. Also that HaKadosh Baruch Hu needs to make a miracle, even becomes as a dust. Why? Because it's holy. ועשה הקדוש ברוך הוא נס להתחדש בתחיית המתים. Even he became inside the grave, he became completely afar, which just means became like a sand. HaKadosh Baruch Hu make it in the future, make a miracle that the clothing that a person is wearing and is a tzaddik and he buried with it, he's going to get up in Tchiyat HaMetim. You are going to ask me a question, is it possible? You should have asked me a question even more harder. That's not difficult. What's the question more harder? It says in the desert, 40 years, the clothes and the shoes will never wear off. Okay, what about the babies that were born? What kind of clothes they were wearing? Malbin is answering the question. He's asking Malbin. And the Torah says, what happens with the baby clothes? Who gave him to provide the clothes? I thought for 40 years we wear the same clothes. In America, they would think you're the poorest guy in the world because you're wearing for 40 years the same thing.
One of the richest people.
Right. So imagine shoes wearing for 40 years. There's no company that makes the shoes for 40 years, right? There's no shoes. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it. What about for kids? Rav Aaron, what about for the kids? What HaKadosh Baruch Hu did? For the kids, when they were born, they were giving them a clothes. But those clothes was growing with the kids. Oh, that's also a miracle. So Tchiyat,
Were all the clothes the same?
what?
Is everybody wearing the same thing?
No. I don't know if they're wearing the same thing. But that's not the point. The point is the clothes did not get wear out for 40 years. That's the point. And what happened with the kids? So over here, Tchiyat, what?
They were in the desert?
Yeah. גם גופם קדושה, לבושים תשמישי קדושת העם גניזה, שהוא יחיה תחיית, יעשה הקדוש ברוך הוא נס, אבל סתם בני אדם שלא יהיו בחייכים צדיקים, גמורים. כיוון שהם גופם, אלא דין תשמיש קדושה, אין לבושים שלהם זוכים להתחדש. He says, because they were not such a tzaddikim, the clothes would not gonna be renewed like for the tzaddikim. כיוון שאין להם תשמישי, אין להם חשיבות כלל, אלא נזרקים ואינם טעונים גניזה. Those clothes need to be thrown out, does not need to be buried. לכן עתיד לבוא, ישמחו צדיקים שעמדו בלבושיהם. That's why in the future the tzaddikim would be happy that they were buried in these clothes. הרי זהו הוכחה שיהיו בחייכם צדיקים גמורים. How they would know if they were tzaddikim complete and were not tzaddikim complete? It says by the time they get up in Tchiyat HaMetim, the way they're going to get up with the clothes, if it becomes brand new clothes that they're buried, they would understand that during their lifespan, they became tzaddikim gmurim. I heard it one time from Rav Tzadka, and he told me a stipler like Rav Israel Kanevsky, he says, I never did a sin, even unintentionally shogeg during my lifespan. Never in his life, he did even unintentional sin during his lifespan. This is Rav Kanevsky's father. Yeah. No, you're saying something else. Kedushat haguf dina levushim tashmishim kedusha. Says the body becomes a vessel that becomes kadosh, which just means holy. Ba'emet Gemara Shabbat. It says in Masechet Shabbat in page 105. Ite akore al med chayav kevan shu chayav lekro alav. Akore nichshav ketikun v'lo kilkul. So a person, chas v'shalom, somebody passed away, he needs to rip his clothes. That's what it says. But he says he's fixing or he's kilkul, which means he's damaging. Ma shenkel al med da alma. He says not talking about the dead, just a dead person. Shein achayav lekro alav. He says regular person, you're not allowed to rip the clothes. Haveu kemikalkel patur. It's like destroying. On Shabbat, if he did that, he's not obligated. Rashi says, chacham chiyuv chayav. What if chacham, a person is knowledgeable, wisdom? Afal pi shein krovo, lo tzarcha, delav chacham hu. Ve'en adam kasher hu michayav chayav, lo tzircha, delav adam kasher hu. Says, what kind of person that in the time of the Gemara, if you see a person that is a shomer mitzvot, usually in a regular cases, 7 close one passed away, a person needs to rip for the father and the mother on the left side, for all the other 5 individual is on the right side. So if in the time of the Gemara, you saw somebody, a Jew, passed away that is kosher, which just means not able to eat, kosher, which just means kept the mitzvot u'maasim, he's need to rip his cloth, which just means to the right side. Okay? V'yidaike b'shat yitziat nishma. Chayav. Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Lazar. Rabbi Shimon ben Lazar says following. Ha'omed al hamed b'shat yitziato nishma chayav likro. Rabbi Shimon ben Lazar says, if you're standing on top of the person and he passed away, you need to rip the clothes on the spot. That's what it says. Rabbi Shimon ben Rabbi Elazar. Ulama ze domei lesefer Torah nisraf. Why? He says each Jewish person is like a sefer Torah right now was burned. Pirush Rashi, nishmato Israel natila doma lesefer Torah nisraf. Says the Jewish soul is like a sefer Torah. If it's departs from this world, it's like burning sefer Torah. Shen lecha rek ba Israel shen b'not Torah mitzvot. He says there's no such a thing. A Jew does not. That's why you say Chabad says this. Over here it says this. There's no Jew that is not fulfilled with mitzvot. How are you going to answer? Shem b'nei Torah mitzvot. B'chidushe Rambam lemoed katan. Ramban says following. In Moed Katan, in page 25. Katav nirei le asher nefesh haguf kedin askarot shebagudle sefer Torah. He says whatever the nefesh shebaguf, he says the soul inside the body, it's like a Hashem name inside the Sefer Torah. Hashem name inside the Sefer Torah is the soul inside the body. Mashal ba'alma lo mashu hefsed gadol v'charada gdola. When a Jew passed away, it's a big hefsed, lost. Chayav adam likro alav kilu nisraf Sefer Torah lefanav. It's like, chas v'shalom, if in front of the person passed away, he needs to rip his clothes. It's like the whole Sefer Torah was burned. Katav Ritva Moed Katan. Ritva says Rishon. V'ze aguf domeh ligvile Sefer Torah. Says, what is the body? The body is the parchment of the Sefer Torah. Imagine we're not thinking like this. We're just thinking, okay, I was born to the Jewish father and the mother. And that's it. I'm walking around. I had barbecue. I had some salad. Very good. Falling asleep. Everything is great. He says over here, the body of the Jew is parallel to the cloth of the Sefer Torah, which means the parchment. But the nefesh, the soul, is everything that is written in the Torah. From here we see the body is holy. The body is holy from the Jewish nation. How the body becomes holy? To the Torah mitzvot. Chagiga, in page 27, it says even the person is regular Jew is like fulfilled with 630 mitzvot. It's like filled with 630 mitzvot. But we know in reality that's not true. Because a person, how the Gemara could talk like this? The person does not put a tefillin, he does not do mitzvah aseh deoraita, to pray daven in the morning, shacharit, aravit, many mitzvot that does not do. How they say, the Gemara in Chagiga says, every Jew filled with 630 mitzvot. He says, empty Jew filled with 630 mitzvot. Well, the Gemara don't know. There's a person that does not keep many mitzvot. Okay, you want to know the Chidush, rabbis? The empty person is full of 630 mitzvot. I heard one of the Chidushim, then we're going to go to Khatam Sofer, Rav Nisim Shalom. He says a person comes and do mitzvah without thinking what he's doing. He's doing robotically. He's considered empty person full of 630 mitzvot. What does it mean, empty? He does everything robotic. He does not know. It says in the Torah, it does not say. He just does it. He just does it. V'chatam sofer b'nei adam ma'iri, aval gav delov adam אבל גב דלאו אדם כשר הוא, אפילו הכי גופו נעשה קדוש ממילא, לבושים נחשבים תשמישי קדושה שנגנזים. Khatam Sofer says, Bastam bnei Adam, he talks about regular people. Aval gav de lo Adam kasher, even though the person is not in such a good situation of spirituality. Yesterday I was so happy that I saw this one guy, I forgot his name, in Eretz Israel. Basically, his father did a lot of Gemilut Chasadim. Okay? He does more than his father when he passed away. He says in Lavaya to his father, I'm going to do more than you 100 times more. So he does Gemilut Chasadim. He goes to hospitals, and he gives them gifts. He says, whatever the wish you need to have. So the guy says, I need to wish to have got married, wedding. Give me a ring. He gives him a ring. So I want a guitar that is $8,000. He gives him the guitar. This guy says, I want an Orlando short. Right? Number 7. He gives him. So he gives him all these gifts. And this guy just came out from the Hamas kidnapping. This guy came out back home. It's like, I think in 70s. He started putting tefillin. He started doing Havdalah. What does it take for him? 70 years, 500 years to be in Gaza, in a hole of hell, in order for him to become tshuva. Realizing there's Hashem. A person needs to go through all these things in order for him to realize the Hashem. Chazal says don't go through these things. You don't need it. You don't need it. There's an easy way out. Listen to me, Hashem says. There's an easy way. But unfortunately, we as humans, we don't listen as easy. So he came out. I was surprised. Put a tefillin. He says, back then, in the Hamas, I did not watch the whole video. He said many, many things that he so-called kept according to his ability that he able to keep in the captivity of the Hamas. So what do we learn from here? Why learn the hard way? Let's learn easy way. אם כן מקיימים בתחיית המתים בוודאי יש בהם תורה. Says, even the Khatam Sofer has even chidush. Even if people not so kosher, they're able to come out from the Tchiyat HaMetim, which is resurrect. But we said, the Gemara says, if somebody does not believe in Tchiyat HaMetim, resurrecting of dead, he does not. He does not would resurrect. Or Machazake Torah. Who is going to come out from, resurrect from Tchiyat HaMetim? Whoever sponsors the Torah scholars. Torah scholars. Below זה אין קמים תחיית המתים. מסכת כתובות says 1:11, it says the Chachamim was not happy that the not learners not able to come out to resurrect from tchiyat hametim. So what is the resolution, Nisim Shalom? The resolution is like this. Solution is like this. Supporting Talmidei Chachamim. נחשבים מלבושם תשמישי קדושה. They're the one who enclosed the Talmidei Chachamim. They're the one who called the Tashmishei Kedusha, the holy vessel, which is the body. כולם צריכים לעמוד בלבושיהם. Everybody needs to stand with their clothes. בעל כורחה לומר שכתוב שכל המקיימים בתחיית המתים הם בחינת צדיקים. But we need to say who is going to get up in תחיית המתים? The tzadikim. ועמי כולם צדיקים הוכחה מדרשת תנחומה. That everybody is tzadikim. תנא רבי נתן, כוסות שירד עם אדם, שירד עם אדם לקבורה בו עתיד לעדות תחיית המתים. The Rabbi Natan says the person that is buried in his clothes, that's the clothes he's gonna get up. שנאמר תהפוך כחומר חותם, תעצבו כמו לבוש. Like the Chazal says, it's like you're gonna flip chomer, which just means the spirit, physicality, to the livushim, which just means the clothes. The kaid kamad dechol adam ma'iri iti b'Yerushalmi kilaim. Masechet Yerushalmi says following. Perek tet halacha gimel. Tana Rabbi Natan kosod yordo im adam lekvor hi ba'imo. The person gets buried with his clothes. That's the clothes that he's gonna get up in tchiyat hametim. שנאמר תהפוך כחומר חותם יתרצו כמו לבוש. כן אמור לו Rabbi Antoninus. This is touching for me. Every time that I read Rabbi and Antoninus, Who was the Rebbe? Rebbe HaKadosh. Who was the Antoninus? The Roman emperor. מיהו מביא את הדור בתחיית המתים? הרי כלבושו. He says, אמר לו רבי לאנטונינוס. Rebbe said to Antoninus, who is going to bring, whoever is going to bring to that generation תחיית המתים, let him bring the clothes with it. What is the problem to go buy a clothes and bring with it? Right? Rebbe says, הרי בלבושו. ושם, זאת לאחר שגלו מה שמגיע להם, נזדחכו. Says, whatever each person does, his body becomes, and his clothing becomes holy, that's what he's going to get deserved. נחשב, נחשבו צדיקים. They're going to consider the righteous. ויקומו בלבושיהם, they will get up with the clothes. הלא פשוט מאוד, לפי הפירוש, שכתבו תוספות. אליבא דירושלמי. The Tosafot takes the Yerushalmi and expands on it. כוונה קיימו לבושיהם ולבושי של אותם בתחיית המתים. This is the clothes that they bury, and this is the clothes they're going to get up. אך הבדל בזה בין הצדיקים גורים לסתם בני אדם. What's the difference between the tzaddikim and the regular, ordinary people? הקמים בתחיית המתים, השתדעתנו האחר. נראה גם לשמעות גמרא שלנו שיקמו לבושים שנקברו בו. So far, we learn from here, from the Gemara, that even the regular people who are buried with the clothes, they also will get up in תחיית המתים. אין לחלק בין הצדיקים לשאר העם לתחיית המתים. Says there's no difference between the tzaddikim and between the regular people. לכן למה נעשה עוד מחלוקת בזה? כי תלמוד שלנו תלמיד ותלמוד ירושלמי, אפשר לפלוגה לא משינן. So it says, when we have a machloket between the Yerushalmi and Bavli, halacha, it's like a Bavli. And it says, why to make a machloket? That's the clothes we're going to get. Everybody, whoever buried, and that's the clothes that we're able to get up. שיהיה רצון שהקדוש ברוך הוא תן לנו ברכה, הצלחה, בריאות, הרבה דסייעתא דשמיא. Thank you for coming. וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן.